What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another live stream from IBC Films. I'm not going to take forever to get into this. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what we're doing. We basically are making, let me hit record. We basically are doing a week-long editing thong, week-long live stream situation I wanted to test out. And basically today we're going to be kicking off with some of my favorite effects, tips, just things to help you edit faster. That's why this one's titled "You're Editing Too Slow." Not to be offensive, but it's ways to help you move quicker and faster. If you already do these things, let me know below in the comments too. But these are things that I've used to help myself edit faster, and we'll go ahead and jump into that. Just to give you a quick little rundown, we're going to be talking about different keyboard shortcuts, different effects. And like I said, this is a week-long series of ways to kind of just help you level up your editing. Like today, we're talking about keyboard shortcuts, tips and tricks, effects, things like that I like to use that have helped me edit faster. And then tomorrow we will be talking about, what do I have on my list here? Tomorrow we will be talking about let me check my schedule because I've actually blanked on what I'm talking about tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be hitting a lot of different things this week, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. Trying like I said, something I'm trying new that I've never done before. So tomorrow we'll be talking about creating a film look and what that really means with color grading. Wednesday we'll be talking about different things different projects I've worked on, like an editing breakdown, why some edits worked, why some edits didn't work. Thursday will be a live editing, like I'll be editing live and you can just watch me as if you're right there with me. And then we'll be talking about some misconceptions that I think people have about editors. And Saturday will be a nice little community night of sorts. We'll be doing Q&As and stuff like that. So definitely stick around. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. This is actually the project we'll be working on live editing on Thursday. It's a short film. Well, not really a short film. It's a pilot to a show that I directed. And this is the first episode. That's why it's called a pilot. But we're going to be kind of hitting some of these points that I wanted to touch on in this one. So one of the things I've talked about a lot on this channel that is a super easy way to start editing faster without having to do anything honestly super crazy is knowing, like, if you have a lot of effects that you like to use or just it doesn't have to be a lot of effects, but if you just have certain effects that you use all the time, this is a good way to help you. And it's right here in Davinci Resolve. It's called the favorites. So if you're come over to Davinci Resolve, let me just make sure everything is sounding good. Okay, cool, we're good to go. Yeah, and let me know if you can't hear anything or something seems off or anything like that. Just let me know. Okay, so what am I looking at here? So we're going to do favorites. So basically, I got a few saved here. A lot of these I don't use quite as often as I used to, but there's some different things. But like you can have like transition saved. You can have fusion titles, things like that. So instead of having to go over to your effects panel and remember, like, all right, this is a title, open effects, audio FX, and then search up what you want, you can just go to your favorites and it'll be right there. And you can see how it kind of will also tell you like where that effect exists. So like you got your toolbox and video transitions. So this is a fusion transition, which is categorized under that, but I saved it as one of my favorite effects. So I don't have to go through all of those different tier lists to find it. It's just foreground wipe is right there. So instead of going over to, let's see, video transitions and scrolling down or even searching foreground, which is not a huge thing. It's not a big deal, but it's just one of those things that help you go faster. So you see I did that. To save effects, all you have to do is when you on it, you'll see like this star up here, and you click on the star, and that automatically adds it to your favorites panel over here. Get rid of that. And like I said, if you click on favorites, it'll show you everything, and it'll show you all the different. Like I have an audio effects one saved right here. I got one for reverb, one for like limiter. So I know I like to use those a lot. So instead of having to go to my audio effects and then find it like this, I can just, essentially you're just putting markers for your favorite things, your favorite effects that you use all the time. So that's one of those that are really good to use. And it's one, I can't tell you what things to put there because it's based off of your editing. So this is something that you will learn over time as you edit. Almost like you kind of self-audit yourself. Like, okay, what are some effects that I really want to use all the time? Am I going to be a person that's using a lot of noise reduction for the types of videos I use? Cool. Search it one time and then find noise reduction here in your effects panel. Put a star next to it, and now it automatically shows up when you click on favorites. And like I said, if you just click favorites, it'll show you everything you have saved as a favorite, regardless of what category it falls under. So that's a super simple, quick way to help yourself edit faster. It doesn't really cost you a lot of time to set up or anything. And it's something you can do as you go. If you know all of the favorites that you want to save ahead of time, cool. But if you don't, as you're editing, you can always update this and you can always take things away. So for me, I can say, I really don't use foreground wipe. I don't really use foreground wipe anymore, which I don't. So I can just get rid of it. I don't really use a lot of effects like that anyway. With a lot of type of editing I do nowadays, I do a lot more cinematic narrative or documentary filmmaking. If I did a lot more YouTube editing like I did back in the day for like clients and commercials, a lot of those types of effects that are built in, applied, made more sense for what I was doing. So your favorites tab, think of it almost like a toolbox in a way. I know they have a thing that says toolbox, but think of it as like your own personal toolkit. And you can change it out based on the jobs you do, based on the type of work you're doing, and it can evolve and change over time. So your favorites tab does not have to stay the same. It can evolve. It can change with you as you evolve and change as an editor. And as you start doing different types of projects and things like that, you can always go back to it, quickly change it. And I really like how they do it because it's super easy. You just go over to whatever it is, even like generators, or like you need to use a lot of bars for bars and tone, grayscale, solid color. That's one I kind of use quite often. I don't have to search up solid color. I can just go to my favorites now and there's solid color. I can just drag it, drop it, and then I can, set that to be whatever color I want it to be. Nice and easy. I don't got to go through a whole long drawn out process or anything like that. And I'm able to, do whatever I need to do with it. All right. So that is saving favorites. Again, as I always do with these live streams, you can always ask questions. I will try to answer during the stream, but if it's something that, like, if I'm focused on a particular thing, I will also come back to the end of the stream and make sure I hit your questions. All right, so we hit that one. Another one that's a super simple, good one to use is copy and paste attributes, which is I talk about it all the time because it's a really a good one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just do a couple of changes here on this, just to like scale in. Let me just do something like that, and then just so we see. Let's just say, like, this scene, all these shots are kind of composed similarly. And I want, instead of it to be, as wide as it was, I want to scale things up. I want it to be like a close. I probably wouldn't really do this, but I'm just adding that effect. So we have it. Let me see, what else can I add to it? Just so we, let's add a little crop. Again, not something I would necessarily do, but I'm just doing this for demonstrational purposes. Let's say I wanted to get rid of some of that. on the side. Come on back. All right, we'll just do that. Okay, and then I'm gonna shift you over some more, just so you can see what we did there. I don't know, maybe we're rescaling or doing something for social media, and we need to crop it again. Not like how I would do that, but it just gives you a general idea. That's two different effects I added to it, so I just kind of want you to see that. And then let's just. That's fine. I think we can work with what we have. All right. So what I'm gonna do here is copy. So treat it like you would do like if you were copying anything in Davinci Resolve. It's just Command C if you're on Mac, and I guess it would be Control C on PC. So I'm on Mac, so I'm hitting Command C, and I'll also give you a visual cue. So I can right click and hit copy. And you can see right here, it'll tell you that the shortcut for that is Command C. So the next thing you want to do is you don't want to just hit Command V, because all that's going to do, I'll show you, is just paste the whole clip, and that's not what we want. We don't want to paste the clip. We don't want to paste the clip. We want to paste the clip attributes. So what we're going to do, like I say, Command C. Then we're going to come over here. You see it's different, but it's similar. So these changes will make sense on this clip as well. It's the same clip, just another section. I'll say it that way. So now what we're going to do is hit Alt. Instead of Command V for paste, like I just did before, you want to hit Alt V. And then it's going to bring up this window for you. And it'll show you basically, and you can kind of see one of the things that I like about how this works in Davinci Resolve is that it will show you what the attributes that you are copying are coming from, and then where you're telling it to go. So obviously this is the same as that clip, so that's why they have the same name. But if it were a different clip, this would say something different. So let's just pretend like this says, we say that this says from 2242, but let's say we wanted to paste it to something completely different. It just said, I don't know, 2245 or something like that. It would, copy that over to the other clip. But it's just a cool visual marker for you to make sure you're doing what you want to do. So you can see, oh yeah, where am I taking it from? Yeah, that's the one. Putting it to, yeah, that's where I want it to go. So I just like that it does that. But here you can see all the options. So by default, it has everything selected. But it has everything like checked or selected that was done to that clip, if that makes sense. So I did some position changes that I showed you guys. It was I did some zooms and then scaling on the X and repositioning on the X and Y axis as well. And then we did some cropping, and then it'll so you have crop selected, and it also shows us that we did crop left and crop right. I didn't do any top, bottom, or mess with the softness, so that's why those aren't checked. If I had like a horizontal flip or a vertical flip of some type, it would have had that checked. Retime process, motion estimation, any plugins, fusion effects. So this is just showing you everything that it will copy, and all the attributes that we changed of clip 2242 is going to post to this other clip of this other edit of 2242. So I still got a comment here, so let me check that really quick. It says, hey, oh yeah, I remember you. Hey man, I'm here again. I have a question. Do you edit only or shoot too? I primarily edit these days, but I do shoot as well. I don't shoot as much as I used to, but I do still shoot. I definitely do. Let's see, I do weddings. I do, obviously I'll shoot my own YouTube videos. I directed this. I acted and directed in this particular film, but I shoot short films, skits, stuff like that. I've pretty much have shot everything. So I have some videos on my channel about shooting as well. So, I have a cinematography background, if that gives you any more information about me. So I started as a DP cinematographer, cam op, and then I transitioned into editing and color grading. So, but we have all that. You have the option to uncheck some of this. So if you don't want all these things to copy over, you can you know, customize what you want to move over. And if we had audio stuff selected, that would come over as well. So I'm gonna hit apply, and now you see the same edit from this. You see the same attributes from this edit are now applied to this one. So you can, you know, plug that into any scenario that you're working in. You know, that's a really cool way to edit fast. So I didn't have to try to like look at the positioning of all of this or what I did and then say, okay, 322.4, and then come over here and try to make that make sense. You know, you don't have to do that. And then you can also, you know, I just hit undo, get rid of that. But like, if I was, this is what I used to do in the past too. I would go 2.460 and I would come to here and go 2.460 because I didn't know any better. It's when I was first starting. And then I would have to go back to find the X and Y positions and then see what I did and make sure I click on it, 911, and then, you know, all that. I'm not going to go through all that because I think it makes sense to you guys. But that is how I save myself all that time. And I'm just reset this real quick. Go to my reform and hit this circle or the arrow, the circular arrow with the plus. It resets that, and I can come over here to the same. That was right. Cool. So we got that. That's copy and pasting attributes, and I only did it to one, but you can do it to multiple, which is really nice. Another one that's kind of in the same vein as that, if you want to talk about copying and pasting multiple effects or editing multiple things at one time in a different way. You can that was only copying and pasting attributes, and I did that to multiple clips. But let's say you wanted to edit multiple clips. So something I'm gonna do. Let me go to the media pool and grab some more shots. I'm gonna just grab these and drop them in. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab some more, drop those in. So this is just a quick way of me showing how something would look in editing a scene essentially. What I'm gonna do is make all these different colors. And I'm really only focused on the video layer at the moment, not really mess with the audio per se. So we got orange, apricot. So let me go ahead and do navy for that. And this is important to make sure. This is where using clip colors for organization help ahead of time, because you can basically set yourself up for the future, and I'll show you why. So you see how we got that selected. Now let's say there's an edit I want to do to all of these, all the shots in this scene that I labeled as a line. And I don't want to necessarily have to, it's not a big deal in this scenario because they're all right here. So I could just highlight everything. And then let's say I wanted to just do like a overall push in on everything like that. That wasn't a big deal, right? Because it added the push to all those shots, added the zoom in to all those shots. And they're right there. But let's just say, let me just duplicate this timeline so I can freely mess with stuff. But let's just say, I don't know, we got some of these. Let me just move that over. I'm going to try to mix this up, jumble it up a little bit. Let's get that out of there. Let's move this in here, because this is, you know, how stuff can look if you're cutting different moments from different of a film or an event, and you got things labeled differently. For organizational purposes, this is what a timeline could realistically look like. You know, not all the colors will necessarily go together like this in every edit that you do. I see I have another comment over there, so I am getting ready to check it. I just want to hit this up really quick. But yeah, I just want to give you the visual idea and just kind of throw it off a little bit so everything's not like perfectly lined up, so we can get a good idea of what we're doing. All right, I think that's good enough. I think you get the idea. So before I do that, let me check this comment. Let's see. We have another comment saying, thank you for taking your time helping other creators. Of course, that's why I'm here. I'm trying to say people's names. I don't want to jack y'all names up, so please forgive me. Is it Jacob? Jaku? I'm not sure how to say your name. I apologize. But thank you for the shout out, for the love on that. And yeah, I'm here to help people become better at editing, whether you're an editor, content creator, whatever the case may be. All right, so I set this up so that we can get the idea. And this is like editing with clip colors, and this is about making like a batch edit over multiple things. And this only works if you set your timeline up this way. But what you can do is go to timeline, and then you can go to select clips, and then you can say by clip color. And this is really cool because now I can select, let's just say I'm going to pick a lime and I want to edit all that. If you come to your timeline now, you see all the lime clips are selected and nothing else is. And what's cool about that is, let's say I just wanted to move them or something. I could just grab them and kind of move them around, and it's just affecting the lime clips, which is pretty awesome. And if I wanted to do a batch edit to all of those, I could say, okay, all those need to have, I don't know what the effect would be. All those need to have a dynamic zoom on them. I know all those clips need to have a dynamic zoom. Now I come back and you can see, let me pick one, it's easier to tell. You can see that those clips have a dynamic zoom. It's going slower because it's such a long clip, but this clip was not moving, if that makes sense. Let's go to a smaller one so you can actually see it. You can kind of see it going, zooming out there. This one, you can see it here. Over time, see how it's zooming. All these, that was all shot static. There's no movement there. So that's one way to do that. I'll just hit undo on that. Let me do something more drastic. Just go to grab like a crazy effect or something. Not that. This will work. I need, for whatever story reason, I need every one of these shots to have a star. Why is this one not popping up like it's supposed to? Oh, that wouldn't work that way with that one. Hold on, I'll give you a better one. Let's see. There we go. I don't know why that's not working. Let's go back. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. That type of effect, those types of effects wouldn't work that way. Because of it being fusion effects, it has to go in each clip individually. But anyway, so yeah, I apologize. It wouldn't work that way. Wouldn't work with that for that type of effect. But there is a way to make that work, and I'll show you that one as well. But I'll just stick to the basic transform effects and stuff like that. Like if I wanted to edit just, let's go select clip colors by clip color. Let's do navy. Select the navy. And now I could like do a crop or something. My computer is moving slowly. I don't know why my computer's moving so slow. But essentially, you guys get the point. It won't work. Oh, I had the wrong thing selected. That's why. Okay. Anyway, that's essentially how that works. So if you want to be able to do, like, move these things, everything won't work on it. But if you want to be able to move things quickly, grab shots, you have to just know what the colors are. So like we have what else we have here? Apricot. Yeah, there we go. Easily move these over. Like I need to move these over and get those over here. And whatever the use case may be, maybe you're like, I don't want those all to be separated anymore. I want them to all be together. You could do something like this. Trim. Let's see. What's something else we could do? Delete gaps. And then boom, all the gaps are deleted between those because they were selected. So, things like that. It's easy to do like a wide range of edits or like batch edit certain elements onto it. So you have to kind of just see it for your use case, in which case you would use it in. But that's how clip colors would work. Another one I'm going to go ahead and show you guys is how to quickly sync audio if you have a separate track of audio from, like a microphone or something. Like a microphone, what's what I'm looking for? External recorder. So for example, I have audio here that was, that's just, scratch audio from the camera. Oh, let me turn this off so you can hear it. So you can hear all that, but that's not the audio that was captured on the external recorder. That's like the better audio from the mic that we had. That's this track of audio here. Now you can do the waveform clapper, which is, a pro way of doing it, where you would find the slate and line it up by waveform. So I can make this bigger here. Okay. Move this over, and then I can like visually line it up. And then I can go back and check. And you listen to it, like you have your audio cue to listen to the clap, and you have a visual. And you can also, you can see it visually in the shot, but you can look at the waveform to see it as well. And then you can tell how off you are, how close you are by that clap. It's like a little echo, but then you can just slide it over, and get where you want it to be. It's a little bit off. Boom. Perfect. So that's not hard to do, but we can do it faster. So as long as you know that those two audio tracks match, this will work. If they don't match, and I don't mean match in terms of like the file name. I just mean match in terms of the same audio that was recorded. So I'm just slide this way over there because you don't even have to line it up. I'm going to highlight both tracks of audio that I want to sync. And then I'm going to right click on it. And then it's called auto align clips. And it gives you two options of how to do it. You can do it by time code. If the audio was synced to time code by camera and the audio recorder. If it wasn't, then you can use waveform. And most times, like let's say you got footage from a project, like you're the editor and someone gave you the footage, they would let you know, yeah, we use timecode sync on set. So that's something you would know. That's not something that just happens in post later. If it wasn't recorded on set with timecode, you can't just force it to be like that. Use track number. We can use just asking you like which one to use. Track 1 is fine. And then it'll just sync it. So I'm going to hit sync. And it took it like less than a second. And now it did what I did manually by itself. I still would check it though once Davinci Resolve does its auto align to make sure that it is synced. So like listen to it, make sure you don't hear like a echo or anything like that, because sometimes it could be off. But it looks like it did a good job in this case. So mute that track and we'll hear only the audio that was recorded through the mic. So then I'll swap it. That's the bad audio. But this one is better. The one on the bottom is the better audio because it was recorded with the professional mic and all that. All right, so we got that. Super easy, super quick. These are things that help save time. You can already see, like, I'm trying to show you how it would be if you didn't have the fast way of doing it versus the fast way. So let's talk about some of my favorite keyboard shortcuts. And this one, I guess, kind of is a shortcut. And I only bring it up because it's something that people used to ask me about a lot. But they would see in my videos how this might be super simple for those of you watching right now, but you never know. You see how when I first start, everything is collapsed and like, I can't see the waveform. To do that, all I'm doing right now to make it bigger so I can see the waveform like that is I'm holding down the shift key and I'm moving my scroll wheel up and down. I move it down, I hold shift and move my scroll wheel on my mouse down to make it bigger. And then I hit shift, I hold down shift and scroll up to make it smaller or like close it. You can do the same thing on the video layer. So now you have like this little thumbnail view of each part. And you can like really zoom in there, and this kind of helps you to see, like, if you need like a quick visual, you want to look at it visually without having to scrub through per se. I don't really use it that much, but I guess it could be helpful if there's a certain point in the clip you're editing that you want to grab. Like I'm like, oh, I want to see where the slate clapper is, so I don't have to try to scroll through and guess. I could do this. And I'm like, oh, there's the frame right here. I can see that it's in the shot and go right to it that way. So, yeah. So that's how you do that. And like I said, it's just shift. If you want to do it, without the keyboard shortcut, you also can just come over to the left side of, I guess, there's a little menu bar that has all these little buttons and selection things you can make. You come over to this like stack timeline with the check mark, and it says timeline view options. You click on that and you can like change how things look and all that. But you also have at the bottom track height. So that's really what we're changing, is the track height. If it's like a, tall, you can see more information. And if it's short, then, you don't see anything. So like I said, I hold down shift and then just scroll up and down. And you want to make sure you're like on the video side of the timeline, and the bottom is like the audio. So if you're on the video, like the top part of the timeline, this like, separation line is like right here that I'm adjusting that to. You can go, but if I want to do the audio, I go below that line, and now I'm on the audio side of it and do that. So there you go. To zoom in and out, you can also, I do that very quickly a lot of times. Same kind of thing, but instead of holding shift, I hold down alt on my keyboard and I zoom in and out on the timeline. So I can be zoomed all the way out like that, or I can zoom in. Like that. And all I'm doing is I'm holding down alt and I'm scrolling the wheel down to zoom in. And then I hold down alt and I scroll the wheel up to zoom out. And you can kind of see it like here on this little menu panel thing again. You see the minus and the plus. That does the same thing. And you can just kind of grab it and slide it like that. But if you don't want to have to go up here and click that guy or slide it, all you got to do, hold down alt, scroll down, scroll up. So that's how that works. We're knocking through these. Let's see more comments. No comments so far. All right, another thing that I like to do, and this is one of the main shortcuts that I use all the time, and it's making a cut, but doing it in less steps. So let's just say all right, let me go ahead and get rid of this little beginning part, all this laughing, because it's not the scene. We don't need all that. That's the beforehand. I can tell this is what I'm getting into character right about here. So I want to get rid of everything else. So instead of, let me just show you the slow way of doing it. You come up here where my mouse is, and you select the blade tool, and they call it the blade edit mode. And it also will tell you the keyboard shortcut for that. So you can hit B or just click it. And now when I come down, you see that my mouse turned into like this little razor blade. So to make the cut, and I don't have things linked, so it's going to take me even longer. I'd have to do all that. And then I can go back over here to go back to my mouse, my selection mode, highlight all that, and then I can delete it. Which that's not a big deal when you're, just editing short things, but when you're editing over a long period of time and, you're editing a hour plus long feature film, you don't want to have to keep doing cuts like that all the time. It gets kind of annoying. So another way to do it is you can basically make a cut wherever your playhead is. And this to me is the game changer. So the default for DaVinci Resolve is Command B. So if you hit Command B, you see that it's made one cut, which is way faster than what I just did. I had to go select this and then go 1, 2, 3 and do all those cuts like that separately. But instead of doing all that, I was able to just to go where my playhead is, and I can say, okay, this is where I want my cut to be. Then hit Command B, and that's so much faster, in my opinion, instead of having to do it the other way. And it's something that will help you save a lot of time. I don't use Command B because I made my own custom keyboard shortcuts, so I wanted to go even faster than Command B because I'm just obsessed with going fast. So I just go where my playhead is. And for me, I said, I want C to be cut. So I just hit C and now the cut is made. Another one to do if you want to like quickly delete things. Let's say this bit in the middle is where was what I want to leave. You would hit delete like that. But now you have this gap in the middle that you have to adjust. So I have to highlight all this section and slide it over to make it meet. Sorry, my dog's over here wanting to get pet. So now I made that connection point. So you see how I just did that, but I can do that faster too. So, let me just put that back. I still want this section, those cuts I just made, but I want to be able to get rid of that faster. And instead of doing this, delete and then drag over, I can do all that in one keystroke, select what I want to be gone, and I'll hit Command D, and it gets rid of that in less steps than I just did it before. So that's another one. And that one's like ripple delete. Another one that I like to use a lot is I say a lot when you start getting a lot of different things going on. You might have a layer of A-roll. Let's say you got some B-roll here. I'm gonna just grab some of these different ones just to give us a visual. Timelines can very easily look something like this, just depending on what you got going on. And it's not all necessarily video. This could be text. And let me just add that too so we can get a feel for that. Just add a bunch of stuff so you can kind of just get a idea of what's going on. Let me go to titles. I'm gonna just grab a basic text, just something simple. That's fine. We can just leave it like that. Basic text. So we want it to be up there for that. Then it comes off. Then we cut to that. Then we cut to that. Super simple. Slide this over. All right, so you have all these different layers, but let's say I'm like, oh, I got something else that needs to go in between here. Something I can obviously grab it and move it up. There's nothing wrong with that. You might be perfectly fine doing that. But something you could do is instead of doing it with your mouse, you can just click on it, make sure it's selected, hit Alt, and then click up on your D-pad, and then it starts moving that track up. That's something I do too if I want to quickly add more layers of video because it forces it to add more. So if you go up, we stop at 11, but I can make it go up higher. So I just keep going, boom, 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 boom. Now we got 20 video layers. Not that we needed all that, but it's just a way to quickly do it. And you can pull it back down. I like to use this, like, again, use case master. Okay, well, that's cool, but why is that necessary? I like to do it so that way if I want to move things up and down, I can do it without having to worry about things getting out of sync or moving left to right in a way I don't want it to. Because sometimes when you're moving, it's easy to accidentally do that. And let's say you're moving fast, you didn't even realize it. In this case, it's not a big deal because it's text, we can see it. But you can imagine you have a lot of things going on. You may accidentally move something and then keep editing and then come back later and like, why is my stuff messed up? So I like to try to be non-destructive as possible. So if I need to move things around, but I want them to stay in the frames that they're in, I'll just go select this and go like this. Because now I'm confident that they are in relation to each other, still positioned correctly. But I was able to make space, the space that I needed, so I can add some more tracks or something like that. Like if I needed some more, I need to duplicate that or something. I can easily do that without having to be concerned. And I can freely move things around. I can like, oh, okay, yeah, I wanted this to go up one more, so I can add another one. I don't know, whatever the case may be. That's how that works. But that works for so that's how you move up and down one track. And you same thing for audio too. You can move it up and down. Be careful though, because if you go too quickly, you can erase something you need. So this green layer of audio, or the green track of audio, we don't want that to go away. So if you're moving things up and down, be careful, because you can unintentionally erase something and now it's gone. And it's like, oh, what happened? Again, if you're editing fast, now that thing is gone. So you want to be careful when you're doing things. But yeah, so that's a cool one to use. One that's like not a huge time saver per se, but it depends on how you look at it. If you're like me and you edit a lot of different projects, sometimes simultaneously, and you need to move around quickly, you need to see something or check something that you did in another project, you can hit Shift on your keyboard and then 1. So you hit Shift, hold Shift, hit 1, and it will pull up your Davinci Resolve like project manager. And this is where all your projects are. So you can like go back, see all your folders. I can easily go click on another project and open it. And yeah, you also can do that by coming down to the bottom right and hitting the home icon, the little house icon here. It says project manager, and it does the same thing. But again, I'm just showing you keyboard shortcuts to do. So you can just go Shift 1 quickly without moving your left hand at all. Just put your hand on Shift and then 1, and then that pops up versus, oh, let me come over here and hit that. Again, not huge, but those little things can add up over time. Okay. I showed you the clip color editing one already. Let's see. Something else that you can do that I like to use a lot is dynamic zoom. And it's a faster way, in my opinion, to edit, because you're not having to worry about keyframing. And I want to grab a good shot. This one will work. Let's pull this down. Zoom in here, make that bigger so I can have some time to work with. But dynamic zoom is probably one of my favorite effects to use, because it's so unique to Davinci Resolve, because I don't know of another editing program that does that. And usually you can just use keyframes, and it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But let's just say I wanted to zoom in on my face here. I will come up. This is one way you can do. There's multiple ways to do this, but I'm just quickly doing it. I can add keyframes. So I can, hit my little triangle diamond thing here, and start at 0 or default or 1. And let's just say throughout the clip I want it to go to, I don't know, I'll just go 2 or something. Obviously that was super fast and unrealistic. You can also, the other thing too is it's very robotic or mechanical, because it's just quickly going from point A to point B. There's no this is not like smoothing it. And I can go in and change stuff like that too. Like you can go in and adjust that and make it, kind of like change what that effect is doing. But instead of doing all of that, something that you could do is, like I said, there's a way to do it to make it, more feel more like realistic or more natural. But instead of doing all that, what I can do is I'll just reset this back, and I'm gonna go. Let me turn this so you can see our effects if we're changing things. I'm going to go down. You're in the inspector still, but instead of using transform, what I'm going to do is come down to dynamic zoom. And by default, it's toggled off. I also like this because you don't have to go searching for an effect. It's already built in to the inspector. So every clip technically already has it anyway. You just can disable it if you don't need it, but you just turn it on, and I'm going to just show you what it does by default. I didn't change anything. All I did was turn that dynamic zoom on in the inspector, and this is what it does. So let me make this longer too, so we have something to really see and look at. But you can see dynamic zoom kind of already like starts to make things look a little bit more dynamic, for lack of a better term. I'm gonna swap it so that way it zooms in. Actually, no. Let me go back because I wanted it to be the same way we just did it. It's also going. Okay, let me do this. Let's swap it so you can actually compare it and see. So we did that. Make it a little bit longer. That just makes it feel more like somebody was on set, either doing a zoom naturally or doing like a dolly. It adds some cool camera movement, and we can dial it in faster. That's why I like it so much, because to do the same thing with keyframes would just take a lot longer. I have to do the math and figure out the right. Let me see if I can kind of just guesstimate what that's doing. So that's probably like 1.25 or something. Go to the end here because I want to go always to the end. I don't know. We'll do 1.25. See what that looks like. It's a little bit faster. Again, that's not even bad, honestly. That's like, I wouldn't be mad at that. That one goes a little bit slower. It just feels a little bit better to me. So it's probably more like a 1 point. But you can already see what I'm trying to do. I was already done with the other one. Right now, I'm like really trying to dial in this speed correctly. You just got to play with it a lot more. And it's not like it's not a right or wrong. You just got to really play with it. But I already like the speed of the other one better. So I have to keep messing with this. So I got to set 1.50, 1.05. Let's see if that does it. That's okay. I think I got it now. Again, that doesn't feel bad. They're kind of similar because they're both doing like a linear type of curve. So I'm going to give credit to the keyframe. It's not bad, but you see how long it took me to get the same result with this, that all I had to do was turn it on and not change it. So it just automatically gave me a very smooth, natural feeling. But you can still tweak it. So I can click on it, and then what you want to do is come over to at the bottom of your viewer here, you have this little caret, I guess is what you call it. And it by default is on transform. And if you click it, this is just like your scaling essentially. So scaling in within the frame. And if you look over at your transform in your inspector, you can see it, the numbers changing to match it. So that's what it's on by default, but that's not what we want to use. We want to come down. You can crop, do a lot of things. We want to switch it to dynamic zoom. And this is where you can like dial in what type of look you want. So I'm gonna click off of that. We're gonna play it. This is what Davinci Resolve did by default, just when I toggled it on. But I can say, maybe it's too fast and I don't want it to start cropping on top of my head. I want it to kind of like tilt up. So what I can do, your green box is where it starts at. Your red box is where it ends. So this is essentially showing you what it's starting here and it's scaling in to this frame. And that's how you end up with this ending point. But let's say I wanted to get to that. Instead, I don't want this to be the ending point where it's cutting off the top of my head. I still want to see, let me go back to here. Gotta make sure I have this selected. I want to see the top of my head, so I will push up on it. And then I know that when it zooms in, I'll still see the top of my head. So now I'll go back and play it. It's doing the same thing. But now it's not like going down. It's going up instead. I guess, okay, it's too much. Let's bring it down a little bit more. And then you have some other things you can do. Because let's say I wanted to, like, I don't know, do something like that. I can even change the direction it goes. So it'll zoom, but go to like the top left. So you can really dial in what you want. And it's pretty cool. So I like using it a lot for that reason. You also can then come over. Let me just you can turn this on and off to get rid of that visual if you don't want to see it out there. But if you come back over to your inspector and go to dynamic zoom, you can hit ease in and out, and that will give it more of like a smoother start and finish. And then it like slows down at the end. So it's like it starts slow and speeds up, and it starts going faster in the middle, and then it slows back down to an end. So that is dynamic zoom. You can also make I'm gonna show you another thing you can do where it doesn't have to necessarily be a zoom. You can make like a pan in a way. So I'll put it back on linear, and we're going to, let's just reset it. And let me pull this up. Let's say maybe we do need it to be pushed in some. So I don't want to do this. We'll just make the starting point like, okay, well, let's do it like this. And I'll kind of show you. So you gotta kind of have to play with it a little bit when you're doing it this way. Let's see, what's gonna be the best way to do this? Probably to go ahead and punch in on it first. So I'll zoom in on it a little bit. So we'll do that. And I want it to basically go left and right. Again, you can do it with your keyframe and animate it, but you can do it with this as well. It can be a little tricky because I need it to not zoom in as much. But all you gotta do is just kind of pull it like up. And then I can go left or right. So you can kind of see there it's subtly moving from left to right. And then I can kind of, if I wanted to go more, you gotta be careful though, because you don't want to go too far and you start coming off the shot and then you start seeing black. But that's what we punched in, so it wouldn't be, we have some room to play with. You can kind of see me coming off the edge here. But we can adjust for that because I can always go to my zoom and punch in a little bit. And that's how you have a cool left to right. And then we can make it, like I said, we can finesse it a little bit. We can go ease in and out. And it made it feel a little bit, it wasn't as perfect. So it might be what you want to make it feel a little bit more organic. But yeah, so that's the dynamic zoom tool. And it's really, like I said, it's really one of my favorite ones to use because of that. Yeah, we did that. And we'll hit a couple more and then we'll go ahead and close up here. I showed you ripple delete. Yeah, I'm going to show you how to do punch-ins. So this is something that's really quick. This works pretty well with like podcasts and things. Do I have one up here? I don't think I do. I don't think I do. Let's go back. Let me. I guess I can do it in this, but I want to see if I can do it. Hopefully I have this footage still here. So let's just say, I don't know. Let's just say I wanted to do something where I which one of these I want to use. I guess I can use this one. Let's pull it over here. This, to me, works really well when you're doing it with like a podcast or something, because it's not going to really make a lot of sense in this situation, because there's a lot of, this one's not really going to work that well. There's a lot of movement. I need something that's not moving quite as much for it to really make sense. Something like this. That works. All right. So let's just say we're doing something crazy and you're going to be doing a continuous like jump cut. That, all right, now I'm gonna use a different one because I really don't feel like that's a good example. Let me find a talking head project. This is gonna be weird if I try to do it that way. All right, cool. We'll use this one. Hopefully, yes, cool. So I have all that stuff in there. It's from a podcast that I have. So let's just say, let me go ahead and duplicate this. This will make more. I feel like it makes more sense in this use case than the one I was getting ready to do. So the adjustment clip, I have my color, right? What did the adjustment clip have? Yeah, I have my color, so that's fine. Yeah, let me get rid of that for right now. So it doesn't get confusing. All right, so we have all these different cuts and stuff like that. And sometimes I'll show you this. What I'll do when I'm editing things, if I only have one camera, if I want to try to make it interesting, which is a typical YouTube thing. There's all one camera. It'll be here, and then I'll punch in on it like that. But I did that myself, and then I did another one where I punched in again, or I did like a little jump. No, it was just the same one. It's a jump cut there. I have a slight punch in, and then at this point it comes back out, which is totally fine. But if I was going to do that a lot throughout this, I might not want to have to keep looking at what did I do 1.190, or maybe I don't even want to have to hit Command C and go through and Alt V. And although that is a quick way of copying, is not necessarily the best for this use case, because I definitely can do that. And you probably be like completely fine. Like, oh yeah, that wasn't a big deal. But there's usually always a faster way. And it depends on what the scenario is of how you're editing. So what I would do in a podcast situation or YouTube video, this really works well when there's two different people talking. What I would do is go over to my effects, and I should have this saved. I don't know why I don't. Grab an adjustment clip, which is going to be an open effects. Let me start at. I'm gonna grab my adjustment clip from effects. I'm gonna drag and drop it, and basically whatever you program this to do, it will affect everything that's underneath. So I can do this little zoom in, and it's not on the actual clip. It's only on the adjustment clip, but it applies it to that. So I'm gonna just punch in a lot so it's noticeable. So I did this one time, and then I can scroll in and do all that. So again, I showed you how one way of doing it, but to me, this is the faster way to do it, because literally now all I have to do is, okay, look at all my cuts. Where do I want to apply that? I want to start off. Oh, let me go back. Another quick way to copy things, which I didn't show you before, with the keyboard shortcut, is to hold down the Alt key. Select what you want to copy, hold on the Alt key, click, drag. And it left it where it was, but it also made a duplicate, and I was able to drag it. Now, I definitely could just go Command C, come over here, paste, but sometimes that can get a little weird. It's nothing wrong with doing it that way. You definitely can. It's just another option. Usually if it's something I want to use in the same timeline like this, and I'll just Alt, click, drag it to where I want it to go. Now I come down, and all I got to do is just cut it now down to size. And it's there. You see me talking from this angle, then it cuts out there. And then I can just kind of throw that throughout. Like, oh, I want another one right here. So we're just playing through like that. Goes in, boom, cuts. So that's a way to basically pre-program your multiple punch ins for your jump cuts. And then if let's say you wanted to do another one, like let's say I want to have alternate versions of this that I want to use, but I want to give myself an easy visual cue. It all ties together. Now I go back to my clip color by right clicking, go to clip color, pink. You don't have to only use clip colors to organize footage. You can use it for anything. Now I can say the pink or violet one is the super punched in one where I go to 300. And now, boom. So now I can say, okay, at this point, I want to use this one that punches in like that. But then I want to use this one to come right in after. Mind you, this isn't affecting the clip below itself. So you can see how easy that is. Because now, if I decided I didn't want this, imagine if I decided I didn't want to do that. I'd have to go to the clip that was punched in like I did over here, and then I have to go in and like clear it and reset it. But now I can do all the jump cuts I want, and then I can always change my mind. Say, you know what, actually, I don't want jump cuts to be right there. Let's just leave it. Or punch ins, I should say. And just like that, you're done with that. So it makes it easy. And that's just one way to use adjustment clips. You can use adjustment clips in a lot of different ways. You can use adjustment clips to have color effects. Like, because in my other version, I have some type of effect or a LUT or something like that here. And I can just hit disable video track. And you see that it changes. But I just added it to all of the clips without having to go to each one individually. I just threw an adjustment clip over all of them. And all those color effects that I did, or LUT or whatever it is, I added to this video, get applied to everything underneath of it. So that's a cool way of doing it. Another way to do, an easy way to do like batch edits to multiple things at one time is to use compound clips, which is another one that I like to use. So let me go back to, where was I at? I'm going to use this because it's a lot of different types of things. And this is what I was trying to do before with clip color, but the clip color didn't really work that way. But let's just say I wanted to, I'm going to just grab these 3 different videos that you can see they're all different things. And I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to go to new compound clip. You can leave it as that. You can call it whatever you want. You can change the name of it. And now all those are here. So all of those separate clips that I had are now existing in this one compound clip. So now anything I do to the compound clip affects everything that's inside of the compound clip. So when I was trying to add like those crazy effects before and it wasn't working, like CCTV, I just throw it on that because it's affecting the compound clip, not the clips themselves per se. Is affecting the entire compound clip. So now everything is forcing everything to have the same effect. So that's a quick way to do things. And this is why I said like knowing these little tricks help you edit faster. And now if I want to go inside, let's say like I did that adjustment, but let's say I'm like, oh, well, I don't like something about how that overall, effect made something look, or I want to like, let's say I come in here, let's just say I do like a punch in or something. And I'm like, okay, I wanted to push up on everything, but now this one is like weirdly framed or something. I still can adjust that. So I'm like, okay, I want everything to be closer in, like I zoomed in like that, but this one now I just get rid of, my eyes are out of the frame, and I can't change it like this because that's going to affect everything now. So what I can do is you can double click on it. Let's do it this way, make it easier. What you can do is click on it, right click, and then you want to go to open in timeline. And once you hit open in timeline, it basically shows you this sub timeline in a way that has all those clips in there, how you edit it, how you had them edited. And now I can say, all right, that was pushed over too much. Let me just do something like this. And now when I go back into the timeline we were editing in, the master timeline, you now see that how my eyes were cropped off, like cut off, I went in and fixed it, and it didn't affect anything else. But let's say I'm like, I don't want this effect anymore, and now I'm stuck with everything. I want everything to be back how it was, super easy, and I love this. This is something that Premiere Pro does not do. So to me, I don't know why they don't do it, but you can decompose in place. And that's right here. You right click and you see decompose in place, using clips only. And now it basically popped everything back out to the main timeline. So there you go. That makes it super easy. But that's one of the ways that I like to use compound clips. But you can get creative with all of these. You can mix a lot of these in together. You can change them. You can mix and match, and come up with your own little quick edits. And it's one of those things, like when you start playing with effects and tips and tricks and things like this, you start to figure out new things you can do, and your own editing also helps you come up with the reasons why you would need it. Because sometimes, when you're first starting out, you may have no idea why you need to do something. Like some of the stuff I did might not make any sense. You might not even know what use case you would need that for. But you might come up with your own use cases one day, like while you're editing. You might say, I wish I had something that would help me do this thing faster. And that's how you kind of grow as an editor. You always want to find something that helps you edit faster or helps you do your job easier. And that's the whole purpose of this channel, is me sharing tips and tricks that I've developed over the years as a professional editor, and as using Davinci Resolve, I guess for the past 4 or 5 years at this point. The knowledge I've learned, I want to be able to pass that on to you guys. So if you have any questions, I'm about to end the stream out now, but if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment on this video after the fact. We are doing a Q&A on Saturday, so if you have questions you want me to answer, be sure to tune in then. But I'm streaming again tomorrow, so if you liked this one, you want to see more of this, I'll be streaming tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be talking about how to create the film look and what that really means. A lot of people throw that term around very loosely, but I'm gonna kind of go into some different things that I do, how I interpret the what it means to have something look like have that film look, and it's not just slapping a LUT on to videos. That's one element of it, but there's a lot of elements that go into creating something that has a film like quality, and we'll be on the color page tomorrow talking about that. But that is all I have for this one. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. We had a lot of viewers, and we had some comments, great comments from people. Thank you for the support from the community. I appreciate you guys. And for anyone who wants to join, I will see you tomorrow. Until next time, peace.